again. You say you want your freedom. Well,
These the Beatles?
Stop it. Dude.
Come on
Just
now.
stop
What?
it.
Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, and we're going to set you up with a nice little napkin and a kitty fork at the kids' table.
Yeah.
And then maybe you take a play off, Evan, because it might be time for you to go to the kids' table and learn a little bit from the elders.
Well, me and Alan are on this side of the table.
Yeah, and
Alan's wise beyond his years.
Well, what's funny is Evan was able to get Alan's goat yesterday, so you were gone, and Evan was lingering in the office. And so, sometimes, Steiny, when you and Guru are doing your show, I'll come in like during a break, and I'll either say something pro Steiny or pro Guru, and it's a little bit of an agitation sensation, and Evan will come in and say, Dibs, 30 seconds, or we're coming back, or whatever. Yesterday, Evan Giddings comes in and intentionally gets the goat of my partner, Alan Stiles, out of nowhere. You had no business. You had no business coming down his road.
So I was listening to the show after the show. I was at the gym. I was going to come back.
Yeah,
and so I was going to come back and just
came back all pumped up and like, I'm swole.
Yeah. But I just noticed that Alan looked like he was wearing this old kind of like baseball necklace. They're called fightins, but looked like he was wearing one. And so I came in and I was like, hey, it looks like it's a fight necklace, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, that leads down the road.
It started innocently enough.
It did.
I think Alan turned up the heat.
No.
Like, that was definitely on you.
I mean, I'm going to defend my partner because, Alan's in for Mark all week, but you were the one, Evan. You were the one. And I'm a big Evan fan.
I'll back at you, dude.
I mean, second only to Mark Grandy,
of course.
and Lucas and Spadoni and about 5 other people, but
top 10.
You're my top
No, this is what happened.
What happened, Alan?
You're my Klay Thompson.
What did I
This is what happened. We came in. You came in. We were talking about fightins, which led us to talk about summer ball, which led us to talk about how
you throw 85
in summer ball. Everybody throws 90. Everybody runs a 6.5, 60. Everybody's just much better.
Yeah.
So once that came out, I said, yeah, I mean, when I go to the fairs or the carnivals or whatever, I'm hitting about 84, 85. And Evan said, no, you're not. And I said, what are you talking about? So then I drop it down to about 81, 82, and he just gives me this look that I just didn't appreciate. And then he just kind of slides away, just slinks away.
Well,
and it was just
he was
unnecessary.
dismissing Alan's
It was
talk
just
about his
unnecessary.
velo, Steiny.
Gotcha.
It was a velo. It was like the old blanking contest, but for these guys, it was velocity.
But my problem was I actually said about 83, 84, and my problem was it's not like I said 95 here.
No,
right. What are we talking about here?
As long as you're saying 83, 84.
No, it actually gets better. Then he goes on to say,
it got ugly.
Then he goes on to say, I've seen you throw. So this guy is at home when he's not getting his pump on, watching YouTube videos of your boy. What's going on here?
Well, no, actually, I did specify these videos are on Twitter because you post a lot of them of yourself. So
I wouldn't say a lot.
I'm watching these videos trickle out, and no, okay. So and then what was the follow-up question to your velocity?
I don't remember.
Do you crow hop? Do you run into it?
Yeah, I'm not crow hopping at the Alameda County Fair.
But you didn't say that yesterday. I said, "Are you stand still?" And said, "No." Well, I kind of,
I get a little.
So that's not standing
going.
still. That's not
Who
straight up and down.
stands still?
A pitcher.
Here's the bottom.
No, you're driving.
Here's the bottom line. What
Take a playoffs. No.
what do you throw? 83, 84?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so it's very similar to Steph Curry's free throw percentage the last 2 years
83,
in the
84,
postseason.
yeah.
So have you had a 10 mile an hour or a 10 percentage point drop in velocity like Curry has at
No,
the free
I've been
throw
steady
line?
Eddie. Okay, I've been steady Eddie.
Well, and so my thing is generally your velocity does not stay with you after your playing days. So unless you did throw 90
That's
in
not
college,
true.
What?
That's not true.
That you still throw exactly what you threw 10 years ago? Or
Yeah, if it
15 years
depends.
ago?
A Tim Lincecum, probably not, because we know the whip that he had and the torque that he created. Your boy didn't have that, so it's a little different. There's less to drop off.
So
You
in
see what
10
I'm
years,
saying?
you're still going to be throwing 83.
Maybe.
And that is where the fish continues to get bigger, in my opinion.
This is a classic case
This
of
is D1 crime on D3, and I won't be here for it.
Well,
That's right.
And this is a pitcher.
I'm punching up.
A pitcher is clashing with an outfielder who's trying to come down his road because Evan as a pitcher
Right.
was more in tune with velocity.
Actually, Steiny, you make a good point because to me, 83, I think the reason it's bothering me is because 83, you don't have a cannon.
Right.
But maybe for Evan, 83 is a cannon. But where I'm from,
Exactly.
that's not really, that's nothing to write home about.
Let's say it. Where we're from.
Where we're from. And you see,
it's a
I
different
got on Iverson
it's a different
right
kind
now.
of baseball.
You know what I'm talking about.
Philly and then the Puget
But you've already
Sound.
admitted that you don't throw. But you've already admitted that you don't throw cheddar. Like,
Right, but I don't think 83 is cheddar. That's what I'm saying.
no, it's not.
Right.
It's more like Gouda or I would say a Monterey Jack.
It'd be like, yeah, you say 80 poo, but it sounds like that you are also afraid to potentially be in the 70 poo crew because as
I'm
a
not
D1
there.
athlete, you could never be there,
I'm
right?
not- look,
God forbid.
Evan, if I threw that, I'd tell you.
No, you wouldn't.
I would. I would. And you know what? Don't let me get healthy. Because
It's like Draymond
I'll
Green.
text you. I'll text you. Come out to Alameda
it's the
County
Styles
Fair.
Invitational.
Come out to Alameda County Fair. They got the gun ready.
Yep.
And it's
They got
ready
the
to go.
radar gun
And
ready?
we'll just do it head to head.
I do have
Okay.
a question.
No,
Did
I
you
don't-
guys use?
What?
You use the word fighting?
Oh, it's like a necklace.
Yeah.
It's a
No,
brand of necklace.
PHITEN.
Not Reading fighting Phil.
That's what they call Redding's
Do you
double
remember
A's.
those
right.
necklaces?
The fightins.
And maybe you don't. It was like when these guys were kids and you and I were already in middle age, but they were like the rope necklaces that pro athletes were wearing as sort of like a healing sort of necklace, like Josh Hamilton.
It's supposed to focus you.
Yeah, it had like a big
Look kind of like a rope chain a little bit. Yeah.
And it looked like a vitamin, like a big vitamin on it, right? Like a
Sure.
like a
Yeah.
goblin or something.
Yeah.
goblin.
Yeah.
Like a big
yeah.
sweet tart.
Is
that what you're talking
if,
about?
If that's what it looked like to you,
What is
then
going on here?
I don't know, Grandy. I don't know.
no. Anyways,
I don't know.
No, you guys sounded great yesterday.
All
I
right.
apologize. I riled you up. I
No,
didn't
you
mean.
didn't rile me up.
No, you cracked me up
Oh,
because
okay.
you guys came in, a couple of early 30-somethings talking about velo.
Late 20-somethings.
And whatever. You guys are both on your way to being old men like Steiny and I. And it was just kind of fun to see the hubris of youth clashing D3 against D1.
I was just very confused. I'm just hanging out, enjoying my time.
You were very defensive. You were not confused. You were defensive. Evan came in
Now-
fresh
yeah.
off a pump, aggressive.
That's what I'm saying.
That was a lot of testosterone.
A lot of
Tons.
endorphins
No,
going.
it was great. He was flowing.
Alan, did you ever think of getting going Division III and actually getting an education in college, or did you always want to go to Temple?
Temple, I mean, no, to be good.
I applied. I wanted to go to Temple. It's a great school. It is.
I saw your shirt yesterday, the Reading Phils.
Yeah.
Reading Terminal Market.
Yeah.
You got to get
In
down
Philly.
there.
Well,
See,
the one,
they
on, the
don't
one on
know.
today is also a reference to PA, right?
Yes, the Reading Royals before the Reading Phillies. It's throwback, retro.
No doubt.
Now, Steiny, has it been awkward for you at all with the beef that's been happening with our guys, the Morning Roast, and their beef with the Philly crew, right? Where do you fall in that category?
That's a great question.
You mean with their trip to Philly and all that
Well,
stuff?
Run the tape.
Well, and it's still going on. I mean,
this did get a little. There was some meat to this bone. Let's put it that way. So when those guys went out to Philly and they were kicking up a storm,
Bonte and Joe.
I knew it was going to be trouble.
Right.
Jasky.
And I felt like it was going to be trouble. And so I was of the camp, like, of course this was going to happen. Whatever happened, of course this was going to happen. And then I found out that it was actually pretty bad.
right.
And then I was like, well, okay. So they went over. But anyway, I'm at went golfing with some buddies back east about 4 months ago. And they're all Philly fans. And they were like, we started talking about that game. And my buddy Pat was like, yeah, I gotta tell you, it was pretty bad. Those fans were, I mean, that was a really bad game if you
Yeah.
were a 49er fan. Like,
Wow.
it got pretty bad. So I came home.
Like they
and
threw
said,
food at our guys and they were throwing
Yeah.
epithets
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were throwing beer on them and all the rest of it. So
I can't condone it.
No.
It was hostile.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I didn't really know. I thought it was just typical Philly stuff.
Typical Philly stuff.
Where is that line? I'm wondering.
No food. You can't.
No
I'm not a big-
liquids, no solids.
I'm not a big profanity guy.
Yeah.
either. I don't like people that use profanity loud at a game.
I
Right.
feel like as long as there's not any physical contact.
Good
like,
natured banter.
Well, there's
but you can
good-natured
curse
banter
it, right.
and there's profanity, but
Yeah.
then there is things that are of a racial nature, and that's
Right.
where you want to talk about the line. If you want to talk about like blank you Niner fans, okay, fine. Yes, we're walking in our jerseys, blank me, blank you, fine. Those are words. Like pouring beer on people and using certain words with starting with certain consonants, that's where it's over the line. And
Definitely.
showering people with food is
Yeah.
over the line. And
That's
that
something else.
Yeah, that goes to every fan base, not just Philly. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. That's where, to me, the line is crossed.
I don't think there's any doubt about it.
Yeah, but we don't have to worry about that out here. Bay Area fans are not of that ilk, right?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Oh, they are of that ilk at times.
Well,
and, you know,
of course they are.
we have had incidents
Yes,
where,
yes.
you know, things have happened.
I will say this: the one thing that where I think fan base was completely misunderstood were the Raiders tailgates. At least at the end, like everyone's, oh, Raiders, those fans. We went to tailgates for like 2 years,
At least.
all the time, and like I saw nothing but like good-natured banter.
Shout out to Bart Lot.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody wearing a Chiefs shirt. We're going to get you today, but you know, you guys don't have a quarterback. You got no chance. But there was nothing physical, nothing violent.
Right.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Look, every fan base has bad apples, right? So
Yeah.
the question is, how many bad apples does the fan base have?
And how rotten the apple
and
is.
how rotten the apple is. Philly, they dive into it a little bit.
They pride themselves on that.
Right. We throw
Yeah.
snowballs at Santa Claus. We don't care. That's what we do, right? And you got to be careful with that. Got to be careful because they're going to meet up in the season.
Yeah.
And I would say probably in the playoffs too.
Yeah. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Oh, I got to read it. Pierce Evans is paid $5. Is this your buddy? Do you know this guy?
I mean, we shared the same first and last name.
Yes.
I don't know
Congrats
him,
to
though.
our Bay Area Panthers for winning the championship, and thank you to the awesome radio broadcast team.
Thanks, Pierce.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
Dave
Mrs.
Lewis and
Giddings.
Steve Papin.
P1.
Two of the best.
Mama
doubt.
Giddings.
D-Lou, he goes way back in indoor football, and Steve Papin is an indoor football legend.
Yes.
So I'm glad that P. Lou shouted out the radio team that called the championship broadcast.
Yeah, no, they
No?
were fantastic. I spoke to Dave yesterday. He was very kind, reached out and said something along the same lines as Pierce, which is, this entire broadcast team has been A+, just
Yeah.
a class act to work with, and I, for one, agree with him.
And what a great story to go from one win to the championship. You guys must. I mean, you and Grandy, you were there for the one win.
Well, he wasn't.
What?
I don't know if you know this. They weren't allowed to talk about last year's one-win season.
Indefinite suspension was coming if we talked about the
Stop
one-win
it.
season.
Stop it.
No, what?
No, you're kidding, I hope.
No,
Of course
I am.
we are.
Okay,
But
no,
that's
in light
kind
of
of what
the
Kevin
Baltimore-
Brown did.
I was going to say Evan Brown, but yeah.
Well, no, what Kevin Brown did was far less than what I'm intimating they should have said. You should have said on your broadcast, because all Kevin did was read a graphic that talked about the fact that they've had trouble in Tampa Bay. And I've heard you guys play it. You played it twice, and I heard it both times. And I've heard nothing in there that would even prompt a phone call from management or ownership in terms of like, whoa, you guys went way over the line in criticizing our team. They didn't criticize. All they did was talk about the history.
Yeah, he read some stats, which, by the way,
right.
were provided in the
Game
Orioles
notes.
game notes.
Right.
Exactly.
Like the PR staff put it together. And I imagine the production team was like, okay, well, we can use this to set up, how important of a game it is. And they actually won the game. Kevin had a fantastic final call. We're finally on the top at the Trop. And that call does not get pushed out because of the comments that the owner felt like were defamatory, like that he felt like were airing dirty laundry, essentially.
Right.
And so this kind of spurred our conversation today about like what you basically what you want from your announcer. I mean, if not that, then I really don't know.
It's bizarre.
Do you know how many times Raymond Ritter cut and pasted a paragraph that said, the Golden State Warriors have now lost 15 straight games at San Antonio. Their last win was in 1997, and it represents the longest losing streak a team currently has in any one city in the NBA.
It got to 29,
I know.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it was every
That's an
time
awful
they would
lot.
go to San Antonio, he would cut and paste that because,
Exactly.
wait for it, it's a fact.
Yeah.
And it's a fact that you could look at on Basketball Reference or Baseball Reference or all the rest of it. It's like me saying, going into yesterday, well, the Giants have lost 8 straight road games. Oh, my God. I mean, I hope Nahigian doesn't come down here
Right.
and remove me because I pointed out the fact that they've lost 8 straight road games. It's ridiculous is what it is.
Yeah, and there are a couple ways to look at it. You could look at it, I guess, if you're the owner and saying, hey, we're having a really good season. Why are we talking about where we were? Let's talk about where we are. Or the other way to look at it is look at where we were and now look at where we are. So apparently he looked at it the first way and bullying works. So it was all over social media. So the owner had to eat it. And he's been reinstated starting back Friday, which isn't really a full reinstation.
Right.
Reinstatement.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
he's been out since July 26th. Like, it
Right.
just got aired on social media, and I think it was through a Reddit site that someone in Baltimore and a media member confirmed, and then it started going viral because someone went back and actually like grabbed the clip and posted it.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy hasn't been working for like 2 weeks, and everyone's just been like, "Oh, I wonder where Kevin's at."
Right. And I wonder in terms of what you guys talked about, like what do you want from your play-by-play broadcaster?
We got a lot of good ones around here.
Yeah, we do. And, we have some that are more objective than others, and we have some that maybe lean toward being less than critical of their own team when things don't go well. So it always fascinates me. And I think about it in terms of Bob Fitzgerald with the Warriors because he is criticized in many circles for being too much of a homer. But now that they're good, nobody says anything about Bob being a homer because they're good. So when the Warriors weren't good and Bob was maybe overly defending of the team and overly critical of the referees, people didn't like it. But now that the team is winning, nobody says anything about Bob at all. So it always makes me wonder about the nature of fans and the broadcasters because when things are good, nobody has anything to say about anybody in terms of the broadcasters.
Yeah, to me, the broadcasters are like Bill King we talked about. Could there even be a Bill King today? Or did Bill King, when he started, he was just kind of a regular announcer, and then through and over time, because he got better and better and more experience, then he could be more critical, and then by the time he's critical, well, he's been a mainstay for 2 decades. He has a right to be critical, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Evan's first job as a play-by-play guy, he's not going to do that. He's going to have to build up credibility for a long period of time to even get the chance to be that kind of guy.
Well, tell me you never ripped the Panthers when they had 1 win?
No.
You got to bury them last year.
Well, we discussed the facts and the reality of some of those games, which was, for example, one in which I think Mark. I don't know if Grandy's available. But like,
no, he's not right now.
okay.
Not for this combo.
The one against the Rattlers at home last year, where they went down like 42-7 in the first half. Like that broadcast ain't much happy to talk about. So every time we come back, it's we're resetting, and to the point where even though some things are not, I don't know, fun to talk about, like when I'm listening to an announcer and someone doesn't bring the context necessary for a good or bad situation,
right,
I assume they don't know what they're talking about. Because in a sense, you kind of do need to prove to me until I have an understanding of our audience and announcing relationship that you are representing the team in its wholeness. And so when Kevin Brown brings the stats of the last 3 years, they haven't won the Tropicana or whatever it is, that shows me that he knows what he's talking about. And he's also been there since 2019. So he is representing, and he's lived through that. Mm-hmm. And to me, that makes those emotions that when they do win the series, that they are on top of the AL East, that they are destined for October for the first time in a while. it makes me believe that when he says and has a big call and he's excited, he really feels that. And that's what I want as a fan, is that to know that the narration of the team that I love and am invested in emotionally is represented by the voice that's narrating the entire season. And I think that's where I do give Fitz a little bit of a pass as far as kind of the homerish stuff, is because for 20 years he had to call some terrible basketball and gloss over a lot of bad things, to now where he's like probably just excited that this team is dynastic. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think it gives context as well, because the game ends, and if he hadn't given that context, and you see the Orioles, or even just him himself calling it and being very excited, if you're just a random fan and you don't understand that context, you're thinking, okay, so what? They won. So he's attempting to do what you just said that they should do, or what a lot of fans want, and he got in trouble for that, which makes absolutely no sense.
No sense.
He back.
Yeah, he's back on Friday, but the fact that he was gone at all is unfortunate, and it speaks to an ownership that is overly sensitive. You're having a great year,
right,
with the third lowest payroll in baseball. Can you get over the fact that maybe your broadcaster, and he wasn't even being critical, he was just pointing out the history. And Steiny, you made a great point about the Warriors in San Antonio, where it had been since February 14th of 97, I think. Every time they went there, they lost. And it was just an absolute guarantee. And then they got KD, and they went there and they won, and it was a real thing. So the fact that...
The first time they beat him was in the playoffs, actually.
Yeah.
But the regular season record lived on until the next year.
Yeah, that was after the Kawhi ankle sprain, I believe, right?
Well, I think that was 2013.
No, they...
Right? In the playoffs?
2017, I thought.
No, it was earlier. You're thinking of when they swept the... They swept the Spurs
They took
with
game...
Zaza.
Oh, in the regular season? Or...
No, this was in the playoffs. In Game 1, the Warriors had a big lead in Game 1, and they blew it in the fourth quarter. And everyone was like, oh, my God. And the streak continued.
Yeah, Ginobili
Then they won Game 2, the Warriors. They ended up losing that series in 6.
They did.
Yeah. It's a good series, though. It was 2-2.
Curry had a great Game 1. He had like 44.
Well, that's when he was making free throws in the postseason.
What's your thing with Curry?
Can we break that down? What do you think's going on with Steph?
With
There's
him?
nothing going on with Steph.
What's going on with him?
Curry's
Steph?
got
I'm just messing with Warrior fans who, they just don't get it, Alan. They don't get it.
Don't you get it?
I take exception to people say Poole was the reason the Warriors didn't win it last year.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with
Steph, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins, Steve Kerr, they all had a part in
It's a pie chart. Thank you. It's a pie chart. How you want to slice it up, that's up to you.
But I am, now that I've stumbled upon it, I am worried about Steph's free throw shooting after April. That's all.
Well, there is a number 3 and
make some
3/4. 3/4 of the pie.
All right, we got to hit it here. But Alan Stiles, Dan Dibley next. And I'll be back with Evan tomorrow, and you're going to want to listen on 95.7 The Game.